Hi, this is Samia from Henna Fixation with your dose of Henna Fix, and today we are becoming better artists. If you've been doing henna designs for a while and you're noticing they're looking a little bit the same every time you do them, this video is for you. I'm going to give you 3 tips to make your designs extra special and help you become a better henna artist. Tip number 1. Details. You want to add more details into your design. So instead of making a flower and just moving on, take a few extra seconds into that flower. Maybe add those petal lines in there. Maybe add more shading in there. Just take an extra minute when you're doing a design. An extra, couple of minutes when you're done with the design, look at your overall piece and say, if I add a little bit of extra embellishments here and there, I think the design will look better. Or even more importantly, when you are creating your design, whatever element you're doing, take a few extra seconds and add a little bit extra stuff into it. That is going to make that element more interesting, more detailed, and the collection of different detail items is going to really make a design pop out. Tip number 2 relates to the first tip, but you want to add room to breathe. So add some extra spaces into your design. Instead of making everything very, very clustered, just add a little bit of extra spaces in there. What the space does, it makes the element that you want to focus kind of stand out, and your eyes don't get glazed with so much detail. It's like looking at a graph paper. You have all these little boxes, but nothing is really popping out. But once you add a little bit more dimension into it, it makes it very interesting. So add more spaces in there. Whenever let's say that you're doing a band, instead of continuing with the band, you can maybe add more lines to create that visual of space, or you can just make an extra space. You're doing a flower, leave a little bit of extra space around it, and then add an additional flower or additional element that's going to make that flower pop out. Tip number 3 is a tip that I've already mentioned in the previous video, but it really is worth a repeat, which is line variation. I mentioned it before talking about symmetry and mandalas, but in this one we're going to talk about general line variations. So let's say you're making a flower. Again, we're still going to stick with the flower theme. Make the outer edges thicker than the inner designs you have, or the designs around it. Add line variation when you're making bracelets or when you're making an arm piece. So you have thicker lines, thin lines, thick lines, make it interesting. When you're doing finger elements, make the lines thicker and thinner and thicker, whichever way you're going. Adding line variation adds a depth to the design and gives your eyes a little bit of something extra to look at. I've been following a lot of artists that I personally admire, and one thing that consistently sticks out with their designs is line variation. They have a lot of interesting things to look at when you're looking at their design, and I think the reason is because they're adding all these extra elements with extra spaces in there and extra details in there, and then a little bit more depth with the line variation. Let's do a recap of 3 tips. Number 1, add more details. Number 2, give your designs room to breathe. And number 3, line variation. If you follow these tips, I am sure that it's gonna get you started on your journey to becoming a better henna artist. So if you like this video, please subscribe. There are definitely more to come, and share with your friends so they can learn a little bit more about henna too. Thank you for watching. See you next time.